So today we'll be talking about mediastinum. Okay, mediastinum is just a space within the thoracic cavity. Where is your thoracic cavity? Thoracic cavity is here. The space within the thoracic cavity that is located in between the lungs is referred to as the mediastinum. So the mediastinum itself, it contains all the thoracic viscera except the lungs. You can talk about the heart, the great vessels of the heart, and so on and so forth. So let's be going. This mediastinum has what we refer to as boundaries. As you can see, it is bounded in front by the sternum. It is bounded above by what we refer to as the thoracic inlet, otherwise referred to as superior thoracic aperture. Then it is bounded on its back, otherwise referred to as posterior, by the bodies of the thoracic vertebrae and their intervening intervertebral disc. Then it is bounded on the inferior, that is down, by this diaphragm, which is the principal muscle for respiration. Then this mediastinum itself, since you say that it contains almost all the thoracic viscera with exception to the lungs, it is divided into two. One, superior mediastinum. Two, inferior mediastinum. What is dividing it into two is what we refer to as imaginary plane, which is a line that runs from the sternal angle, that is, that runs from the point in which the mandible of the sternum comes in contact with the body. Then dividing this mediastinum into two parts. Then this point, you can denote it by the intervertebral disc of T4 and T5 vertebrae. That is when you see this imaginary line. And that place, it is what we refer to as the sternal angle. So this imaginary line, or imaginary plane, otherwise referred to as transverse thoracic plane, it is dividing the mediastinum transversely, straight, into two. Then the one above is the superior mediastinum, the one inferior is the one below is the inferior mediastinum. Then this inferior mediastinum is further divided into three by the heart. As you can see, this one here is the anterior, where the heart is located is the middle, then the one at the back is the posterior mediastinum. So that is it. Then the superior mediastinum itself, it is just this here, everything here is the superior mediastinum. Superior mediastinum is this one above. Then the superior mediastinum on its own, it is simply the parts of the mediastinum that is just above, a little bit above the heart. Then this superior mediastinum is bounded on the anterior by what we refer to as the manibrum of the sternum, anterior. Then superiorly by what we refer to as our thoracic inlet or superior thoracic aperture. Then posteriorly by the intervening vertebral disc and the bodies of the T4 and T5 thoracic vertebrae. Then it is bounded on both sides. On both sides, the what mediastinal plural. Content of the superior mediastinum include, number one, talk about muscles. Examples of muscle, you can talk about stenothyroid, stenohyoid, mainly muscles of the neck. Then talk about our longus colli muscle. Then the arteries, the major arteries, they talk about your brachiocephalic trunk. Then you can talk about the tubes that are passing within. You can talk about our esophagus. Then you can talk about the, what is it called, our trachea, which is the windpipe. Then you can talk about several other things like lymphatic organs. You can talk about the thymus. Then talk about the lymph nodes that are within, and so on and so forth. Then the next thing is the inferior mediastinum, which is anterior, middle, and posterior. The anterior one is the smallest compartment of it all. It has what we refer to as the boundaries. The anterior boundary is bounded by, let's say, the body of the sternum. The posteriorly, it is bounded by what we refer to as, let's say, the pericardium and heart. Then inferiorly, it is bounded by the diaphragm. Superiorly, it is bounded by this imaginary plane or transverse thoracic plane. Then on both sides, it is bounded by this part of the pleural, which is referred to as mediastinal parietal pleural. The pleural is actually made up of two parts. Talk about the parietal and visceral layer. The parietal layer is divided into several other parts. Then the part that is bounding the lateral side on both sides of this anterior mediastinum is that mediastinal parietal pleural. Then this anterior mediastinum has, they say it has the contents. Whenever you talk about content of this, you can talk about what is it called? You can talk about all those vessels coming from the heart. You can talk about some nerves. For example, you can talk about our vagus nerve and so on and so forth. Then you can talk about let's say any other thing that follows from this place, transversing the heart anterior, will be located in the anterior mediastinum. Then for medial mediastinum is that major compartment that is that the major thing that is located there is the pericardium and its content, which is mainly the heart. Then this medial mediastinum is bounded anteriorly by what we refer to as the anterior mediastinum, or you can talk about the sternopericardial ligament, the ligament that connects the sternum and the pericardium. Then posteriorly, it is bounded by, you can talk about the bodies of the lower 8 thoracic vertebrae and their intervertebral disc. Then inferiorly, it is bounded by the diaphragm. Superiorly, it can, let's say, we can say that it is bounded by the superior mediastinum and the transverse thoracic plane or the imaginary plane. Then on both sides, you can say that it is bounded by mediastinal pleural. Then what are the contents of this medial mediastinum? This major content is the heart, the pericardium. You can talk about the arteries, which talk about the pulmonary artery. Talk about the which other artery? You can talk about all the arteries. You can talk about the aorta, and so on and so forth. You can talk about the ascending aorta. Talk about the descending aorta, etc. Then you can talk about the esophagus. You can talk about the trachea, bifurcations of the trachea. You can see there. Then and so on and so forth. Then you can talk about the lymphatics present. You can talk about cardiac plexus. You can talk about the cardiac plexus. You can talk about the vagus nerve, phrenic nerve, and many other things which is present in the middle mediastinum. Then the last but not the least is the posterior mediastinum. The posterior mediastinum is the one that is located at the back. It is the one that is posterior at the back. So this posterior mediastinum itself, its boundaries are, it is bounded anteriorly by the medial mediastinum or the heart, bounded posteriorly by the thoracic vertebrae, then bounded superiorly by the imaginary line or superior mediastinum, bounded inferiorly by the diaphragm, on both sides by the mediastinal pleural. Then the contents of this, it might be the descending aorta, it might be the nerves, the veins, talk about the IVC, and so on and so. Clinicals, you talk about the mediastinitis. Whenever you get itis stands for inflammation. You can talk about mediastinal syndrome caused by aneurysm of the aorta. You can talk about mediastinal shifts. You can talk about widening of the mediastinum. You can talk about dysphonia, difficulty in speech. You remember the trachea is there, and so on and so forth. So follow for more, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much.